Consett is a town in northwest Durham, once famous for its steel production. Consett Steelworks closed down in September 1980, and since then the town has undergone many physical and economic changes. But we want to ask if Consett has a future and what the next 10 years holds for the place once considered a ghost town. Tony Kearney is 24 and has lived in Consett all of his life, and has recently published a book entitled Painted Red to commemorate both the 150th anniversary of the creation of the town and the 10th anniversary of the steelworks closure.
It was a book that needed to be written anyway, and it was just a convenient peg to hang it on. It covers the history of the town from the beginning right up to the closure of the steelworks. It then goes on to deal with what happened after the closure of steelworks and what's still going on in the town now. And it ends with an examination of the future of the town from the viewpoint of the community who live here. It was a town created from nothing. This was barren moorland before the company came here. And every aspect of life was controlled by the company and by the works. Now that never changed throughout the whole of the life of the steelworks here, right up until the very end. Now what that means is that with every aspect of life being affected by the closure, it was obviously an enormous change in every aspect of life when it went. Now obviously the immediate and most blatant effects were the financial ones. There was obviously a great deal of hardship. Once the closure had occurred, now for some that was cushioned by redundancy payments, but of the jobs that went in 1980-81, 3,600 were at the company and affected by redundancy payments, whereas a total of 10,000 went in that collapse, which means that for the majority there's no redundancy and those financial effects are very immediate and very harsh. But in addition to that, and I think probably the more longer lasting and more fundamental changes are those affecting people's role within society. All the hierarchies were turned upside down. A lot of the institutions went. The unions ceased to be important. The working men's clubs collapsed. The trades councils collapsed. A lot of attitudes and values which had been determined by work and by the company itself. The role of women within the society. And a whole host of attitudes, including the value placed on work itself, were to change over that period, and still are changing now. It's a long process.
I think we're getting the level now where people are coming more and more to terms with the fact that there isn't a major employer. We're having a total change in attitude, and certainly I know a substantial number of families where now the man is at home and the wife is the breadwinner, which is a total change in the macho image. It is frightening how unaware the children are of A, the steelworks, and B, of their direct local history.
I think what Consett history shows quite graphically to me is that industry was never an attractive proposition to begin with. It produced poor wages, it produced suppressive local attitudes and climate. It was dirty, it was dangerous, it polluted our environment. All manner of all manner of social problems stem from there. Somebody once said to me, I don't know why there's all this emphasis on reindustrialisation. Industry never solved any of our problems, it created most of them.
When the steelworks closed, the morale of all those that lived in and around Consett was involved with the steelworks was very, very low. There was no future for them. They couldn't see where they were going. But since then, there's been a lot of regeneration within the industrial estates. New industries have come there, new factories that have there's a lot of employment now. I think when it first closed, if nothing had happened, they'd have been very depressed. But the fact that they came and they reclaimed the site within 6 months of the closure, and as you can see now, albeit it's 10 years on, we've got green fields, we've had 8 mowings of grass, and it makes the place much better to live in. I'm very optimistic for the future. I think it's a magnificent place to live. There are some tremendous opportunities in and around the town, and I certainly love it, and I wouldn't move anywhere else. Superb place to live.
Prospects are very, very slim. It's only natural you have a depressive attitude in families, which is only naturally reflected in the children. We're talking in terms of a lot of children thinking in terms of, is it worth it? If I study, I won't get a job anywhere. My major concern about education of most children is the fact that we look in terms of a long-term prospect as far as further progress is concerned.
I think how I would like to end is that I don't think any of us have any blueprints for the solution to this problem. You can't expect some 24-year-old lad from Consett to come up with solutions to the problems of Western economic decline. What we can do is start asking the right questions, start pointing in the right directions, instead of continually coming out with this myth that we've all risen from the ashes and everything in Consett's wonderful. I think, therefore, at the end, the future for Consett boils down to one of 2 possibilities. Either we will continue to keep on pouring money down an industrial black hole, looking for a solution which isn't going to work, or we'll start looking seriously for social alternatives that begin and end with the people of this community.
Consett is not using its main asset, which is the people. I think we've got to give an awful lot of support to the integrity that Consett has remained the way it is. I only hope that the children who are coming through the present generation are going to be able to gain the advantage of Consett and the people of Consett and allow it to continue the way it's been for the majority of the time.